Okay, I wanted to show an example of using the JSON Action API to configure an input to talk to an OPC device. So to do that, I'm going to be here in Data Explorer. I'm going to be here in the API Explorer tab. I'm going to want to use the Hub API, and then that will give me all the actions to modify or, to do things with inputs along with other things. I want to do a create input. So this is a fairly basic example. I have a more, a complete example ready to go. I'll just paste that in. And then we can look at, let's walk through this and see what all I've done, what all you need to do here. Of course, you need an auth token. Everything has to be secure. So because I pasted this in, it isn't associated with my current session, but that's easy to fix. I just use this button right here to apply the defaults, including the auth token. So there, now I have a valid auth token. And then what I want to do is do a create input. I'm going to give that input a name. And then it's an OPC UA. That's the type of input. Now next, of course, I need to tell it where to find this device. So that's all right here. How often do I want to pull this data? So I'll put 10,000 milliseconds, which is 10 seconds. Now, what tags do I want to pull? I want to pull 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tags from this device. Now, this part is the OPC specific part. In this case, I'm using node names and namespace to identify the tags that I want to pull. With each one, I'm also going to give it a simple JSON property. And that'll be used to, with each time the edge reads this device, it's going to create a JSON object containing the data that I asked it for. So we'll see how that looks. There could be a path here if I wanted. I'm just doing a simple example, not using any paths. I'm not going to do sub objects. It's just all in one object. Okay, so there's my data, and then where I want it stored, and then how long do I want this data to hang around? Sometimes I want the data to be there forever until I come in and delete it manually. In that case, I would do never purge, but sometimes you want to just be able to have a certain amount of data available always in case I need to come back and do some root cause analysis or, what went wrong or whatever I need to do. So you can also auto purge. So in this case, I've got it set to keep the most recent 30 days worth of data. Of course, I can change this to months, weeks, years, hours, whatever I want. So it's completely under my control how long this data hangs around. In this case, it's not that critical, so 30 days worth will be great. All right, so that's it's not a very complex object to describe an input. So there it is. I can hit this little play button, and then that sends the object to the edge product. The edge product parses the object, does what we ask it to do, and sends back a result. I see here we got error code 0, which is exactly what I want because that means nothing went wrong. Okay, now I'll have to refresh my table view here because I added a new table. There it is, OPC V8. Look, we already have some readings. Let's look at one. And remember, the input puts the JSON object that it creates in the source payload field, so we can click on the editor to see that. And there it is. There's the values I asked it to read. There's a timestamp. Everything needs to be timestamped, so we'll do that for you. And it's all in a nice interoperable JSON object that's parsed, can be easily parsed by lots of different tasks, lots of different processes, other software. It can be sent over MQTT. There's lots of things I can do with this. It's also human readable if I need to peek at it and do some troubleshooting. So it's a nice format to use. So it's that easy.